guys? I'm Shaun Hopper, and welcome to Musicians on the Record. Hit it.
This is huge, musicians on the record. Bring it on.
Hi, welcome to Musicians on the Record. I'm David Ward. You've heard the music, now hear their story. I am super excited. Today on the show, we are going to have some guitar wizardry with the wonderful Shaun Hopper is on the show today. Welcome, Shaun.
Thanks for having me, David. Appreciate that.
I'm so glad that you're here. Your album is called The Wood and the Wire, which came out in 2016. It's on iTunes, on your website. Where else can people get that? Anywhere that you can get an album or CD or whatever we're calling it today?
Yeah, they can come to a show and buy one from me. That would be the best way to get one.
Yeah, come to a show. Absolutely. We really like to get the musician's story here on Musicians on the Record, Shaun. So can you tell us, you have a very unique style of guitar playing. It's amazing. I was looking at some of the videos. Where did all that start for you? When did you fall in love with the guitar?
Well, it pretty much started probably when I was about 9 years old. I'm from South Georgia, and I was working on a farm cropping tobacco.
Wow.
And there was a gentleman there that he was like the head man. He was in charge of all of us. And every time we'd take a break, he would play guitar. And I fell in love with the sound of the acoustic guitar. And I thought it was such a convenient instrument. You know, you could just lug it around in the backseat of your car. You could take it anywhere, you know, like whether you want to have a case or not, it didn't matter. So I remember those moments like they were yesterday. And it was very inspiring. And then again, that happened another time at a game room in my hometown of Adel, Georgia. A guy brought a guitar. He's playing acoustic guitar, hanging out, and everybody just flocks to him and listens to the tunes. And it just reinforced my inspiration for the instrument. So that's kind of where, the birth of it started for me, my interest in acoustic guitar. And I just took it from there and, just became a sponge. Yeah. Seeking out a wealth of knowledge from various players, various styles.
Wow, amazing. Do you remember what the guy's name was on the tobacco farm when you first saw that guitar?
Yep, his name is Will Holt. Will Holt and another guy, the other guy's name was Tim Rutland. Those two dudes are pretty much the reason I got introduced to the instrument.
Yeah, thank you to those guys. Fantastic. Wonderful. And so you got the bug for music, for the guitar. When did it become that you got your first guitar?
I'd come down to Tampa, Florida to visit my mom one time, and her boss, his name's Dr. Dan Maddock. Okay. One night, he's got a great guitar collection, and I'm hanging out, and I don't hardly know how to play anything. And I'm hanging out with him, and I'm playing this acoustic guitar, this Ibanez, and I just love it. I can't take my hands off of it. And finally, I'm getting ready to leave vacation and go back home to Georgia. And as I'm leaving, he offers the guitar to me, just gives it to me for free.
Wow!
And that was a pretty inspirational moment. And so I practiced for years. Yeah, it eventually got broken at a party. My brother threw a party one night, and I came home to the headstock hanging off the guitar by the string. So that was my first real acoustic guitar, and then I figured out a way to save my money to buy my own.
Got it. And what was that first guitar Ibanez is great guitars, but
yeah. First acoustic guitar I purchased was an Alvarez. Yep. It was a black. God, if I can remember correctly, it was a black Alvarez with cutaway. Got it for like $300. Wow,
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so you were listening to music, guitars, starting to play. What were you listening to that was just really, growing your passion for music?
Well, at the time, I was listening to what the most popular music around the area was, which this was when Creed had just gotten huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matchbox 20 and Creed. And,
Sure.
and then as far as like other bands like that have been well established for years, Leonard Skinner is like, a staple in the South.
Yeah.
So, everyone loved that stuff. So I wanted to learn it too.
Sure.
And that's just, yeah.
Yeah.
So I started playing bass also.
Oh.
And I just realized as I was playing the guitar, I was never good with a pick. All my friends would play with a pick, and it just didn't feel right to me. So I would always play the guitar with my fingers.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe I want to try my hand at bass.
Okay.
So my mom, she bought me a 4-string Samick, like $140 bass.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Yeah.
Wow.
I loved it. I played it all the time. And so I got into playing bass as well.
Amazing.
And just kept going and going and just getting exposed to, again, different styles of music. And like around 17 years old, like that's pretty much when my life changed, because as far as guitar goes, I met a guy named Sam Passetti that I'd never heard. I didn't know what fingerstyle guitar playing was. I'd never heard of it. I didn't know who Chet Atkins was. And I heard this guy Sam Passetti play one night, and my mind it was blown.
Okay.
I was absolutely, fascinated that one instrument could sound like that.
Yeah.
And so I thought he was using all kind of loop pedals, and I thought he was using tracks or something. Maybe there was like a little person under the stage with a guitar helping him out.
Right.
But come to find out, it was just him. He started offering me lessons and stuff, and I just absorbed that style.
Amazing. What was it about that, Shaun, that really just caught you at that point?
Oh, I just love that you could get so much sound from one guitar and create this orchestra.
Yes.
With your thumb and your fingers and like the palm of your hand, getting muted sounds and bass lines and melodies and percussive little pops and clicks and nuances. When you put all that together in a beautiful formula, it sounds like a band.
Yes, it does.
It would sound very full. And I remember being catatonic when I was watching and listening to this guy, and I just got hooked. And then when I met Sam Passetti, shortly after that, he started introducing me to guitar players, that a whole world of instrumentalists I had never heard of. Don Ross, of course, Chet Atkins, Tommy Emmanuel, Doyle Dykes, Buster B. Jones, Martin Taylor. And the list goes on and on and on with, and Joe Pass and Michael Hedges.
Yes.
All these great players. I'd never heard of this music before.
Yeah.
I'd never been exposed to this, so I started listening to it, and I was hooked.
Wow.
It became a new form of meditation for me. I listened to Breakfast in the Field by Michael Hedges probably 500 times, just over and over and over. I don't know how to play every nuance of that record, but I have it stored in my neurology.
Yes.
I'm listening to it.
Yeah.
Every little slur and hammer-on, and even the type of effects used on every track. I just love that record so much.
Wow. Incredible.
So I just really absorbed in the style.
Yeah, so your musical vocabulary just grew immensely, it sounds like. And it sounds like there was a reason the pick never felt right, because that's not the way you were supposed to play, right?
Yeah.
And even though Skinner, and maybe we'll get some Freebird today, who knows? But even though they're great, something else sort of. And I was watching some of the videos, and you are going back and forth and doing some amazing stuff. I didn't even know what you were doing. How did you develop more of that style?
Well, the percussive stuff is a lot of fun, but I got inspired by, as many guitar players did, by a gentleman named Andy McKee. Andy, he just a champion of a guitar player and a fantastic composer. He won, I believe he got third place in the Winfield fingerstyle guitar competition in 2000. I think it was 2000 or 2001. Can't remember the exact year, but he got third place, and his career started to take off. And by 2006, YouTube came out, and Andy was on there doing this percussive stuff. Yeah. And he he went viral, and he became a huge sensation. So he inspired a lot of players, and myself included.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so Andy was an inspiration. Some of the other guys you're talking about, certainly Joe Pass.
Oh yeah, well, Martin Taylor, which is a great name for a guitar player.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I love his name, Martin Taylor. Like, that's awesome. No, Martin Taylor is just oh my gosh, and I use this word because it's legit. Like, he's brilliant. Mm-hmm. The man is a brilliant jazz, blues, fingerstyle guitar player. His use of chord voicings, and walking bass lines, and movements, and chord substitutions is out of this world. So I heard him play Georgia on My Mind, and it's the sweetest arrangement I'd ever heard. And then there's Tommy Emmanuel, who's the Australian gladiator, who just goes out on stage for 2 hours, 3 hours straight, and he's just a lightning bolt. He's nonstop. You don't hear him make mistakes, and if he does, it doesn't matter. He's just so entertaining, and he's so unbelievably good. He makes us accomplished guitar players just go, how?
Right.
How? I've practiced for hours and hours and hours this week on that one riff.
Right.
How do you do it?
Right.
That's Tommy. Yeah. And there's Don Ross. Don Ross is this fantastic composer. He's got a sound like he among the fingerstyle world. Don Ross just has this sound that it kind of like when you hear B.B. King playing the guitar.
Yeah.
You would know you hear a bunch of blues guitar being played, and when you hear a certain tone, you go, that's B.B. King.
Right.
Well, that's kind of how Don Ross is. His compositions are so interesting, but yet still so signature to him because of his touch and his tone. You know when you hear a track played, it could be amongst 100 tracks being played with fingerstyle guitar music. You'll know which one's Don Ross. Yeah. That's how signature his sound is. His sound has been described as heavy wood. They call it heavy. I've heard it called heavy wood.
That's great.
He's from Canada.
Okay.
And I've been a fan of his for I think 17 years now, and I just love it. As a matter of fact, Don Ross' Passion Session is like a classic staple album that every guitar player should have, but I think every music lover should have, because it's just so well written and well arranged, and it takes you on a journey. So, and then Sam Passetti, he's the guy that really changed my life as far as fingerstyle goes. Yes. He's a technician like I've never seen. His tone is immaculate. His technical skills are absurdly good. He's got a voice like an angel. And he plays all of this intricate guitar music while singing on top of it. Mind you, he's not near as famous or popular as Tommy or Chet Atkins or Don Ross or these guys. He's just a guy that plays local in St. Augustine. Yeah. But he is definitely, I would call, one of the great unknowns.
Well,
he's not a guy you ever hear about, but man, when you hear him, when you get within earshot of Sam Passetti, you just can't help but stop and listen.
Well, that's what I love about talking with musicians like yourself, and we get to talking about inspirations and influences, and when people are watching the show, if they don't know them, Google them and get to their website, get to their music online, and learn about all of these folks. So it's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course, yeah.
For someone who hasn't heard your music, Shaun, how would you describe your sound? How would you describe your signature on the guitar?
People ask me that all the time. Yeah. People say, "What kind of music do you play?" Yeah. And this is what I say to them: hopefully, good music. Yeah, right. Yeah. I keep it as simple as possible in order to not, I guess you could say, preload the content that maybe they want to hear. Like, oh, you play blues, or you play classical, or you play jazz, or funk. I just like to play. I like sound. I like melody, and I like sound. I like groove. Yeah. I like all those things, and I don't really care what the style is. If it sounds good to my ear, if I respond to it from a visceral point of view, you could call it whatever you want. Right. I'll listen to it. So I just tell people, and they're like, "I want to come listen to you. What kind of music is it?" And I'll just say, hopefully good music.
Right.
I'll say it's good music, but hopefully to you it will be good music.
Right.
And because anything can fall under that.
That's right.
That category.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
I love it. Beyond.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah. Beyond genre. Excellent. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back as you're developing and working your chops on the guitars, Sam was an influence and a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any other important teachers that came into your life teaching guitar?
Yeah, there was another gentleman named Bill Brown. He was a fellow that he was teaching me how to play bass guitar, and he was the first person I kind of saw playing or heard playing fingerstyle, and I got interested in it. And then I heard Sam, and Sam took it to another level. Bill, I forgot to mention that Bill actually introduced me to the style, and Sam took it to a whole other level.
Okay.
But yeah, Bill Brown, he was very very like vital in my development as a fingerstyle guitar player.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so when you're developing all of this, you're loving music, loving the guitar. What was that dream you had, Shaun, that was also developing? What did you want to do with music? Where did you want it to go?
I would have this thought that as many people have, I guess. I would picture myself on a stage, playing for a big crowd, or just a crowd, big, small, it's all subjective. But playing for people that were paying attention and listening, that were engaged emotionally, so that I could get fuel from that emotional energy, and then I could give it back with my instrument. And when that frame dialogue is going back and forth, I can perform my best. Because I find that when I play in bars or restaurants are okay. Bars definitely not really my thing.
Okay.
There's no life.
Yeah.
There's no energetic life because I'm not getting fuel.
Yeah.
Any life. Therefore, I can't give any back. So I guess you could say it was that, like being on a stage where people were engaged and listening and getting to respond, getting an emotional response from the music that I was providing, and their emotional response, thereby, motivated me further to continue to create more music. So it became a beautiful cycle.
Yeah, I love that give and take of energy between you and the crowd. And when you pictured that image, when that dream was developing, was that picture just you as a solo artist? Were you picturing yourself in a band, or that wasn't the case at all?
I did a little bit of both. I picture myself playing solo, and I would play solo. Okay. And then I joined a band also playing bass guitar for many years. I played pop rock. I played heavy metal. Okay. I played country. I went on the road with a country band. Playing like casino circuits and stuff.
Yeah, wow.
But at the end of the day, I would always end up coming back to the acoustic guitar. I would spend a lot of time playing with bands, and then when we get back to a hotel room, I would lock myself in the bathroom while they were sleeping and play my guitar so I could practice.
Yeah.
That's how in love with the instrument I was.
Yeah.
So
it's commitment, dedication, right? And that passion. So, yeah. So what are some of the learning lessons that you've learned along the way? Maybe some challenges and obstacles?
The first, my rule number one, or lesson number one to aspiring musicians, is get used to the word no. Just get used to the word no. And a lot of people will hear that and go well, that's very pessimistic. They'll say, oh, you're being very pessimistic. I tell them, don't confuse pessimism with realism. If you think you're going to go to every single venue, every single agent, every single presenter, everywhere you want to play, every person you want to buy your album, you think it's going to be yes every time, you're sadly mistaken. So to go into it knowing that you're going to get told no more than you're going to get told yes is a good thing, because then you can prepare yourself for that. Then it won't affect you emotionally. You can know that it is a numbers game. Right? You can know that going into it, okay, I went and tried to get this gig, and the guy said no. Well, some people might give up completely right there. Right. Yes, I guess it's not in the cards for me. I give up. I tried, and I got told no. Well, go try again. And then they try again, they get told no. And they try 10 times, they get told no. But you continue. You really work hard, and you practice, and you just, you train on your instrument, you train your mind, you meditate on these things. You're eventually going to get a yes. And then that's going to boost your confidence like crazy. And then you're going to go back out there, you're going to get a bunch of no's. And then the interval will close each time that you start to get yeses. Whereas it took a while, it may have taken a long time before you got a yes. Like, your energy goes up and your confidence goes up when you finally get one. Then that interval is shorter the next time. And then you get more motivated. And then it's shorter. And you're still going to get told no from time to time, but you start getting a lot more yeses. At least that's been my experience. And
fantastic.
I think it's important to develop like an immunity to, hearing the word no, And basically, above all, just don't take it personal. If someone tells you, no, we're not interested in booking you, don't think they're not interested in booking just you. They're not interested in booking a lot of other artists. But your job is to go and make it difficult for them to say no. Make it very hard for them to say no to you. And you go out there and do your thing, and you develop a fan base, and people are willing to pay money, regardless of the level you're on, A level, B level, C level, D level artist, whatever, if there is such a thing. I don't know if it goes all the way to J. But regardless, people, if they pay money, if someone pays currency and money they've worked for to watch you do a thing, there's value there.
You bet.
And if there's value there, you need to realize what that value is and start to, push it, try to capitalize on it. So that's the main thing.
That's fantastic.
I would just tell people, develop the immunity to no, and just build an immunity to it.
Yeah. And no is an okay word, and you're going to get some yeses as well. So, tying into that, Shaun, can you talk a little bit about the power and importance of networking as well, and how important that is in music?
Oh, sure. I would say I learned this from a great guitar player that passed away a couple years ago named Pete Huttlinger. Really a monster player. He played with John Denver all through the 90s, but really just a wizard on the guitar. Pete had said something about, if you have what it takes and you don't live in a town where anything's happening, move to a town where something's happening and meet everyone you can, because 90% of your work will come from references.
Yeah, important.
Yeah. So meet people, shake their hand, have a genuine interest in them too. Because people can tell when you're coming from a frame or you just want to take something.
Sure. Right.
If you're shaking hands and you're real, you're real quick on your feet to want to get away from that person, but you still want to get something from them, they can read that and they're not going to want to work with you. You have to show a genuine interest in an individual and their product and be willing to give to them, and they will give to you. If you're looking for sponsors or gigs, if you're speaking the language of wanting to get a gig, a lot of people just want to get a gig so they can play on that stage. I got this gig and I'm playing on that stage. Well, that's great, but that's not going to motivate the venue, the presenter, to want to book you. But if you go to that venue owner and you say, I'd like to get in here and I can bring X amount of people. You're doing something for them. They will then do something for you.
You bet.
They'll give you that gig where all those people can show up to. So you'll have that platform. So it's just that, again, coming back to the give and take,
Yes. Any sort of learning lessons or challenges around the music business, since it's changed quite a bit, but for you?
Oh, I would just say adaptation, Like, you have to, you're a human being that's evolving every day. You have to evolve with your circumstances every day. If you're not going along with these evolutionary processes within music, you're probably going to get left behind. You just kind of have to accept that. You have to kind of find what everybody's locking onto, and then create something like that can spin off of that. You know, go with it and then break off of it with your own little twist. You know, it's kind of hard to put into words, but you know, just something that'll separate you from the herd. At the same time, I don't want to use the word trendy, because it's kind of cliche, but you know, you kind of have to go where you know think people are interested in a certain either type of music or subject matter, a particular instrument. You know, I mean, you know, look at the 50s and 60s. Chet Atkins was a household name.
Right,
you know?
Right, no question.
Now I talk to people. The average person has never heard of fingerstyle guitar, but take it back to the 50s and 60s. Mention Chet Atkins, and the average person would be like, "Oh yeah," because it was a thing. It was a growing trend or style. So
that's right.
Yeah, you just kind of got to lock onto something, go with it, and try to create your own spin-off. You know, get your edge within that trend, I guess you could say. You know?
Yeah, I love it. That's great. Would you be so kind as to show us a little example of that, or maybe a lot of that, Shaun, as far as your style with guitar?
Yeah, well, like I got the guitar tuned here, this Dadgad, this Irish piece, and basically Chet Atkins, you know, like he had the style with the thumb where he created the bass line to, you know, he would keep that beat going the whole time. And then I actually learned this particular style from Sam Passetti, this little Irish piece. And it's a traditional piece called Merrily Kiss the Quaker's Wife. But I like to start it off in the style of Chet, like this. And here's the melody. So that's how, if Chet were playing it with the straightforward bass line, it would be played like that. But what Sam taught me, and the traditional Irish way to play it, is to take the same bass line, and you're going to hear just a slight modification in the beat. Same two notes, but now check this out. Now it's more got that jig feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful playing, Shaun. Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just a little, you know, Irish piece.
I love it. I love it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's just fun ways you can play with, you know, the evolution of music and play with the grooves, play with the time signatures, play with the key signatures, you know, play with the riffs and the placement of the melody. You could do it. You could do anything. It always makes me laugh whenever you know, people will say like, when you were playing that song in the wrong key, and I'll say, well, what song was I playing?
Yeah.
Like if I play Beethoven's For Release and I play it in E minor,
yeah,
it was written in A minor on the piano.
Okay.
And I'll play it on guitar in E minor. And sometimes I've actually heard from people like, oh, you're playing it in the wrong key.
Wow.
I'm like, well, what song was it? And they'll go, well, it was for Elise. I'm like, well, how did you know that?
Yeah.
How did you know it was that song if it
Right.
it wasn't like key, so therefore it's not even that song.
That's right.
It shouldn't even be recognizable.
Right.
You can do whatever you want. You know?
That's right.
Like, at least that's my take on it.
Can you tell us about this guitar? It's beautiful, and it looks like you've got a bunch of stuff going on, some signatures, and what's all happening on that guitar?
Well, this particular guitar is called a Maiden.
Beautiful.
It's made in Australia. This is actually Tommy Emmanuel's signature model. Yeah, I love this guitar. The pickup system is wonderful in it. Those guys really know how to make a well-built guitar for live performance. Yes. And we got a bunch of signatures here. We have, let's see. We got Andy Timmons. Met him in California. We got Joan Baez up here. Ooh, wow. I played a house concert in San Francisco, and she attended my house concert. That was so funny.
Awesome.
Tim Reynolds from the Dave Matthews Band. I played many shows with him.
Nice.
Over here we have, I believe, David Garfield. That's George Benson's musical director.
Wow.
Paul Quinn introduced me to David Garfield. Paul got me to a show.
Wow.
With George Benson. We both went and we got to hang out. And George Benson signed. I got to hang out and play for him again, thanks to Paul.
Awesome.
Paul just makes stuff happen. That man, shout out to Paul Quinn if he listens. I love that guy. He's the best friend of mine. You know,
Paul's the man.
Almost 9 years now. He's quite the fella.
Yeah.
And then Delbert McClinton, another fella I played with. So yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, just a lot of different people, and I played many other shows with many other artists. I just didn't, gotta have them stop marking up my guitar.
You're right. Yeah.
It's just a fun little hobby. The Gypsy Kings, I played with them. Played several shows with B.B. King, but he wouldn't sign anything. And I totally understand.
Yeah,
because there was this narrative that if B.B. King signed something, people would just go sell it.
Right, exactly.
Right away. And I understand because there's probably a lot of that going on.
Right.
Yeah. People were trying to get guitars signed. Sure. They pop them on eBay.
Of course, exactly.
B.B. King signed this, so they're trying to capitalize on that. But I just wanted the signature on my guitar.
Right.
But so I was really lucky to get to play shows with him. So
So how did that all come about? That you played with B.B. King?
I would just open. I would play with him.
Okay.
But I would open his shows. I did 6 or 7 shows across the Southeast. And it was because of Bobby Rossi. A gentleman named Bobby Rossi at Ruth Eckerd Hall. Okay. Has a beautiful venue in Clearwater, Florida, that a lot of big names still go to. It's 2,200 seats. It's an incredible establishment. And Bobby Rossi is a great guy. Amazing. And he said, "Hey, we got an opening spot for B.B. King. We need an opener. Do you want to do it?" And I said, "Absolutely."
Of course. Right.
And I did it, and I had an absolute blast. It was so much fun, yeah.
Amazing. So can we talk a little bit about, too, of when was that moment? I'm always interested in this part of people's stories of when did you get that first big break where it went more from just hobby or I love doing this to, I could actually do this for a living?
I would say probably in 2006, I was a welder working at a welding shop. From, I think, 2002 until 2005, 2006. And I wanted to play music for a living. And I knew it wasn't going to happen until I left myself no other option. I knew if I didn't burn the boats, I would never play music for a living. Yeah. I knew that if I continued to work even a part-time job, I would always have that, fallback attitude. And I would never fully commit, And I talked to my boss one day, and I had very little money, and he was cool. I said, "Listen, I'd like to quit my job and go play music. That's just what I want to do." And he said, "You sure about this?" I said, "Yeah, man. I live one time. I could, I could go at any moment. I'd like to at least do something I really enjoy doing. So, and." For the most part, it never feels like work. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does get a bit boring. It gets overwhelming, and that's anything. But yeah, well, for the most part, it doesn't feel like work to me, and I really enjoy doing it. And I just love music, and I love it too. Here's a little fun side note. When I play background music gigs, when I play some bars where no one's listening, and I'm just stuck in a corner, I'll often put in my headphones, and people ask me how I do this. It's not that difficult, but I'll listen to comedy or podcasts like this one.
Wow.
While playing the songs.
Really?
And it doesn't interfere with me at all. I'm playing the songs just fine, and people are eating their dinner.
Yeah.
While I'm listening to Bill Burr,
right?
Or Louis C.K. or Joe Rogan.
That's great.
Or audiobooks. Now, if I were singing, it would be a different story. But just playing instrumental music is not that difficult.
Yeah.
So that's another way to keep educating myself while I'm playing my guitar, I guess.
That's amazing. I love that because you're just using a couple of different parts of the brain, right? But you're able to do it at the same time. Wonderful. Yeah. I love it. That's great. Yeah. So can we talk a little bit about Paul Quinn and how you first connected with him, Shaun, and some of the stuff you guys play together?
I met Paul at a music store, Sam Ash in Tampa, Florida, in 2009. He walked in, and Jason Filippini was the music manager at the time, music store manager, and he introduced me. He said, "You got to meet this guy, Paul Quinn. He's a music attorney. He's a hell of a guy. He's a fantastic musician. He's a great singer." He told me all these wonderful things about him. Met Paul, and he was in there with his son, Gabe, that day. And he gave me his email address, and I emailed him, and he got back to me within like a couple of weeks. It was my first official email. I'd never gotten an official email where when you get past the greeting, or when you get past the when he says sincerely Paul Quinn, like there's all this information about Saxon and Gilmore, Caraway, and I actually, the first time I got that email, I thought I was in trouble because I read this stuff at the bottom. It said any information in this email that is used can be prosecuted by. I was like, what happened?
Cease and desist.
Yeah, but I didn't know there was some sort of disclaimer. But and I invited Paul and his family to a little coffee shop called Cafe Keeley, and he showed up. Paul showed up and sat right in the front, and I jammed, and and we just became really good friends, and soon after that, him and I started playing music together. He's given me the best advice in this industry. There are things that I was getting ready to do, and they were going to be bad choices. And Paul, with his British accent, would just be like, "I don't think that's a good idea. I think maybe you want to try this." Yeah. I know he's going to watch this and make fun of me.
Right.
He would always give me an alternate route that made way more sense. Something that I wasn't even thinking of. Sure. He's overlooked contracts for me that I was about to sign that would have done a lot of damage to my musical endeavors, and he saved me from that kind of stuff. He guides people in the right direction. His advice is incredibly valuable, and he's, like I said, he's a great attorney, fantastic musician, family man, and to me, he's just a best friend. Above all, he's a best friend. I'd do anything.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, really grounded musically, but helps a lot of people from his own experience legally as a lawyer. Help, one of the good ones, it feels like. So, and I was watching a video, and Paul was on the cajon, and you were on the guitar. And he was singing. I didn't realize, because we did an interview, and
he's got a great voice.
He really does. I was like, "Who is this? A drummer and a singer?" He's like Don Henley or Phil Collins.
He can harmonize with anything. He's got a lovely timbre.
Yes.
It's so crazy to me when Paul talks with his British accent.
Sure.
And then when he sings, it's like two different people. Yeah, but I remember on Paul's 50th birthday, we were all at his house. And his daughter, Emily, had put together this montage clip of all of these successful, notable musicians and producers and other attorneys, like people from all over the world. Will Lee, and Dom
Famularo. Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bernard Purdy.
Yeah.
I can't remember if Steve Gadd was on there or not. But all these big name, notable musicians were all like, Paul, happy birthday to you, man. We love you. And I was just like, wow, dude.
Right.
People really, they just adore you. Yeah. And as they should. Like I said, he's a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
There's not a bad thing you can say about him.